Welcome to Port St. Lucie. This is Professor Tefero for Lesson 4 of Bernanke Macroeconomics, Part 1. We have three principles that we're going to examine this evening. And the first principle is going to be about structural versus cyclical unemployment. Structural unemployment means that you have a severe problem that has been lasting a long time, and it provides a certain amount of chaos in your economy. That would be something like the Depression of the 1930s, which lasted for almost a decade. So that's a good example of structural unemployment. Cyclical unemployment might be something like the current pandemic, which hopefully will not last for 10 years, but it may last for a year and a half, even two. But it's cyclical because it will end in a relatively short period of time compared to a structural depression. So that's structural unemployment, long term, cyclical unemployment, short term. Principle number 2 in Bernanke's book is the labor supply and demand conundrum. And this is a very interesting one. It's very funny in a way, sometimes not really funny, but it's unusual because it shows us that you have fewer jobs if they cost more money. A company has X amount of budget to spend on hiring people for X amount of jobs. And they can pay you more money, but they won't hire fewer people. If they're paying less money, like McDonald's and other burger places, they can hire more people because they're only paying minimum wage. To give you a really good example, let's say you have a grape company and you need people to pick your grapes. Well, you can hire Southern California grape pickers for $10 an hour. You can hire 10 of those people for $10 an hour, so your budget is $100 an hour. But if you get the documentation for temporary workers, you can get people from Mexico or other countries to work for $5 an hour. Maybe even if they're undocumented. Of course, that's illegal, but somehow I've heard some companies actually do that. So if you have 20 undocumented workers at $5 an hour, you can get twice as much production and lower the cost of your goods. So these are two variables for the supply and demand of labor. Let's move on to the third principle. The third principle that we want to examine is employment. Participation employment means that you're measuring age groups or educational groups and what percentages of those groups are in the workforce. If you want to measure the unemployment rate, it's something completely different. You take the entire labor force and you take the people who are unemployed and you put that over the number of the entire labor force. So, for example, if the entire labor force is 50 million people and 1 million people are unemployed, your unemployment rate would be 1 over 50 or 2%. So that's another relatively simple formula to get a hold of. It shouldn't be too difficult for you to grasp that. Participation is by age and education, and unemployment is over the entire workforce. And that's it for tonight. Those are our three principles, and next time we'll look at some other principles of Bernanke. Until next time, this is Professor Tefero from Port St. Lucie, wishing you all a happy and healthy night. Take care. Bye-bye.